We're autistic and we need things to feel real, whether that is relationships, the things we are doing, or our life in general. It has to feel real. And if it doesn't feel real, it feels very uncomfortable. I think that throughout my life, I could never understand why things didn't quite feel right and why people said things that they didn't mean. So the most common thing I will say in our house, especially to my husband, is say what you mean and mean what you say. Because if he says something and it's exaggerating in a way, or he says something and it turns out he didn't mean that thing in that way, I can't understand that. Why aren't you just saying what you mean? So I know, for example, my younger daughter, who is autistic, also feels the same way. And from speaking to other autistic people, it is a common occurrence, it seems. So when it comes to relationships, if a relationship doesn't feel as it should, it feels like it's not right. And that can apply to romantic relationships, family relationships, friendships, and things like that. I feel like, especially like when it comes to friendships, there's been a lot of times throughout my life where the friendship felt very unbalanced, and it felt like the way I felt about it, I don't think the other person felt the same way about it. And as a result of that, the whole thing just felt uncomfortable. It didn't feel right. Sometimes there's been situations where things have felt too intense and it felt like it just wasn't the friendship that I expected. And that has been really difficult. And I have kind of like mutually ended friendships based on the fact that it didn't feel right. When it comes to things like family, that also has to feel right. It has to feel like each person is playing the role they are supposed to play, or not play, that sounds like acting, but for example, a parent should feel like a parent. A child should feel like a child, and the way they behave in that situation should, to me, should feel right. Growing up, having to act like a parent at times was really difficult for me. And as a result, it kind of threw off my whole way of thinking about that parent-child relationship. If you are autistic, I'm guessing you probably know what I'm talking about, and it's almost like if something is even slightly exaggerated, it feels disingenuous. It feels like, why don't you just say it actually like it is? And this can be really, like, as well for autistic people, and we like things to be as they are. So we will call people out and be like, oh, you've just said it was this, but that didn't happen. It actually happened like this. And people get annoyed with that, especially neurotypical people. They get frustrated with that, or they feel like you're trying to attack them, when in actual fact, it's kind of like you're just trying to make what's true be known in the situation. I've never understood why people don't say what they mean and mean what they say, because when I say I'm going to do something, I will absolutely do that thing unless there's a major reason why I can't. And if I can't do that thing, I will let that person know, I am really sorry. I know I said I was going to do this, but this thing has happened, or this thing has come up and it's really important and I need to do it. You know, like usually that would be in like emergency situations or something where it was going to cause a lot of chaos if I didn't do this thing that had come up. But in general, I have realised that in life, not everyone thinks like that. the amount of times that in my life that people have said to me that they were going to do something, and then they've just, not only have they not done it, but they haven't told me. They've just let me down. And I can't comprehend that. I understand it now, people do that, but I wouldn't do that to someone else. So I find that really hard to process in my brain. I've also have ADHD, and that does not change my autistic need for things to be as they are and for the truth to be as it is. Yet my ADHD side is a lot more go with the flow, a bit more risk taken and more outgoing and things like that, but it doesn't change my feelings about the need for things to be right and be as they should be. I find it really interesting but difficult at the same time. I know that a lot of people do not communicate like this, and I find that baffling. I can't get my head around that. This is why social situations can often be so difficult for neurodivergent people, especially autistic people, because it's like everyone's talking in code, and we're like, what do you mean by that? There has been times where people have said something to me, and I've questioned them about it, and they've said, no, you've took it the wrong way. And I've said to them, I haven't taken it the wrong way. I've taken it as you've told me. And they're like, well, I didn't mean it like that. And then I've said, well, that's how you said it. So of course, I'm going to think that's how you mean it. They're like, no, I didn't mean it like that. You've took it the wrong way. And I'm like, no, I haven't taken it the wrong way. You've said it in the wrong way. So there's that like almost clash of communication. And yeah, I know that in those situations, if somebody is going to say something in a particular way that they don't mean, they are going to be misunderstood. And for autistic people, we do take things literally. And it's almost like, why wouldn't you take things literally? I am not trying to shame anyone. And I'm not trying to shame neurotypical people for maybe not saying things as they mean it. I know that is just the way that a lot of people communicate. I'm just bringing it to the attention of the struggle that it can cause for autistic people. And we literally do need people to mean what they say and say what they mean. Do you find that there are people in your life who have this issue with you, or you have this issue with them, where there's that clash of communication and you're communicating in a very like direct and literal way, and they are saying things they don't mean, and it ends up becoming confusing? Is that something that happens in your life? And do you ever feel, if you have ADHD alone and not autism, do you ever feel like this is interesting to me? Because having both ADHD and autism, I can't speak for someone who has ADHD alone. And I'd love to know if this happens with you as well, or are you a bit more like carefree with things like that? Thank you so much for watching. I hope this video has been interesting. And if you found value in this, please check out my other videos and like and subscribe.